Hello, Rick Cochran. How are you? Welcome to Books in the World.
I'm fine, thank you. Good to be here.
And I want to say hello to the audience and welcome to our second virtual Zoom Books in the World. I am Madeline Mealy Holt, and I am the Vice President of the Cape Cod Writers Center, which has been producing conferences for over 50 years and Books in the World for about 40 years. Rick is another board member of the Cape Cod Writers Center and is in charge of writers groups. So, Rick, I know we have a lot of things we could talk about, but today we're going to talk about your books and especially your new book. And it is the second book in the series that you have embarked on. So, welcome and congratulations on the new book.
Thank you.
And it's Boundbrook Pond, Cape Cod Mystery #2, right? Right. So before we start, I'm going to read something from one of your readers that I found on Amazon and somebody who apparently is a fan, Stephen Marini. And it says, Wellfleet is a Cape Cod village that lends itself to small town coziness. Everybody knows everybody, but when a killer is among them, it is not easy to pick him out. Follow the characters and track their behavior. You'll surely figure it out. Or will you? Boundbrook Pond is another fun read from Rick Cochran, so go buy it. You won't be disappointed. So don't you love that? Isn't that a great? You do. One of the things we do at the Writers Center is try to help writers promote their books, and Books in the World is one way they can do that by getting it on film here, and it goes out on YouTube and on the cable TV station out of Dennisport. So, Rick, tell us a little bit about your writing of these books. Where would you like to begin? These are fun stories about the Cape.
Right. Well, where I begin is has to do with my background, as in the picture behind me. I'm really not in Wellfleet at Uncle Tim's Bridge, but that's a picture of it. And I grew up in Wellfleet in the 50s and 60s. My father was the principal of the local school grades 1 through 12 before Nauset became Nauset High School. So I had a lot of information and also many fond memories and memorabilia of the area. So I started writing stories about Wellfleet. And then I wondered, could I write a murder mystery? I love murder mysteries. I've read many series. And so I tackled one and I set it in 1952 to give it kind of a historical context. One of the things I notice now on Amazon is I'm now listed as historical novels, historical mystery novels. And I think, man, when I was alive in what they now call historical, I guess that tells me how old I am. But my first book was Murder at Boundbrook, Cape Cod Mystery. And that was set in February of 1952 in the middle of a blizzard. And it was the same blizzard that we had the famous Coast Guard rescue that the movie was based on, The Finest Hours.
The Finest Hours, yes. Yeah.
And then I got, a very good response to the novel and decided, people commented about how they loved the characters. They wanted to see what was going to become of the characters. So I felt I had the perfect opening to do a sequel. So Boundbrook Pond, Cape Cod Mystery 2 is the sequel, same major characters, except instead of February, it's now the weekend of July 4th, 1952. And like any murder mystery, it has a murder. It opens with a murder. And I work a lot of historical things in about Wellfleet and the Outer Cape. A major setting is Camp Wellfleet, which was an Army base, year-round, but primarily used in the summer to train National Guard troops. And it was very active in World War II and then reopened again in the 50s. And it's just, they're building it and reopening it when my story opens. So that gives you a little bit of a feel for it.
Yeah, it certainly does. If you've been to the Marconi Memorial site, you'll be at what was Camp Wellfleet, which you have told me since we've talked about this. So there are a lot of Cape locations in the book. Are they pretty much real locations? Can you walk around and find the spots where you've set the events?
Yes, actually, the book opens in Provincetown at the Mayflower Cafe, which has been in business since 1927. I had a pleasant evening enjoying a beer that was served to me by the grandson, Darren Giannopoulos, of the original founders. And he confirmed for me what the layout would have looked like in 1952 with a much longer bar. And then there are scenes in the Old Colony Tap, or the OCT, which is still alive and kicking today and has been around for decades. A little bit of a different, that's a serious drinker's bar. And so those are real locations, as well as the White Cedar Swamp, which is right next to the Marconi site and the location of Camp Wellfleet. And I thought the proximity of Camp Wellfleet and the swamp would make a great, I can't give too much away, but
don't give it away.
And you know, there's a dramatic scene that occurs in this swampy place that looks more like a bayou in Louisiana than something you'd find on Cape Cod.
It is rather creepy. I can attest to that. If you like creepy and, not sure how it's all going to end, at least if you're like me, that I really don't want to figure it out. I think some mystery lovers probably really like to say, oh, I know what happened. This is easy, but I don't like that. I like to be surprised, totally. And I was. Yes, I was surprised. So we talked about real places. Did you base any of your characters on real people?
Well, the only close to real person is George Gilmore, who is somewhat a tribute to my dad, and that George Gilmore, like my dad, is the teaching principal and basketball coach at Boundbrook High School. And my father, held those positions and had been a star basketball player and athlete at Tufts University as well as Medford High School, and actually coached Tufts into the NCAA tournament where they lost to giant Kentucky. So I thought that would be a way to work it in. The other folks, I have a fictitious rivalry game of baseball on July 4th between Boundbrook, the fictitious town, and Wellfleet, the real town. And all of the players for Wellfleet are real men and young men that would have been around in 1952 and I know would have played in that baseball game. The other characters are basically fictitious, maybe loosely based on some people, but I won't comment. What is it? They say the names have been changed to protect the innocent. So.
Or the guilty. Or the guilty. So you decided to write a sequel. I think this is a challenge for a writer. Can you talk about that a little bit? How does that work?
I think, the positive is that you already have a momentum going. You already have developed characters. But one of the things you want to do, and I wanted to do, is to write a book that can be a complete standalone so that you have to give the reader enough information about your character's past so they will be able to understand it if they didn't read the first book in the series. But for those people who read the first book and are now going on, you don't want to give so much information that they're getting like, I know, I read the first book, don't give me too much. So I think I did a good job of providing enough without, the feedback I have is that people of both ilks have enjoyed the book. So that is kind of a challenge.
That is, and I only read the second one, and I did not feel that I didn't know enough about these people. But while we're talking about these people, tell us a little more about your couple of your main characters. You talked about George Gilmore, and I would just fill in that the scenes where they're setting up the PX and running around and the base is getting developed are very lively to me and very, I think, realistic. So, but you have
A bit on that, Madeline, because what I didn't mention is that my father actually had a summer job working at the Camp Wellfleet PX in 1957. And I know someone who worked with him, and he told me some stories and gave me some background on what the PX would have been like. But the major characters, like any good story, I think I have a love triangle. So the central characters are Rob and Rachel. And Rob was a great basketball player and great student at Bound Brook High School. And Rachel and he have, are high school boyfriend and girlfriend. She's the daughter of George Gilmore, the principal, and she's a terrific athlete herself. Unfortunately, Rob gets involved in an illicit liaison and having had too much to drink and with the class flirt. And Rachel hears about it, right? This is right after they graduate and they're about to go off to college. And in her anger, she runs off and elopes with Jimmy, who is their mutual best friend.
okay.
And then we have World War II, and Rob comes back. Rachel is married unhappily to Jimmy. And in book one, they start to get together. Jimmy is now off at the Korean War. In book two, Jimmy is now back from Korea, but not very happy with his life or his marriage.
So Rick, we have just about 2 minutes left, so I'm going to add a couple of things about the characters. It is a mystery, and there are several bad guys, quite bad guys, and
yes. Very evil.
they're good and evil, yeah. When some their motivations. Your main bad guy is good and evil, but some of your other guys are not great, but they're working on it. And that brings up comments that I think we both are interested in, the fact that you write a good female character and some good male characters. And I give you some kudos for that. I think you did a good job.
Thank you.
You might want to just comment about Rachel or your other bad guy, and then we'll wrap it up.
Okay. Well, Rachel is a very strong female character, and I feel fortunate because I have had a grandmother and mother who were very strong role models, and I have a wife of almost 48 years who is equally a strong female role model. But then, I also have the character of Elaine, and Elaine is a flawed female character who's struggling through life. She has her problems. And Jimmy, who just got back from Korea, he struggles as well, but he's well-intended, but he has problems with the bottle. So, you try and work in real life issues that people could have. And hopefully I did that in these books.
Yeah, you did. And I certainly feel that the characters that inhabit a small town were very well drawn. You said that one of your goals is to continue writing and explore all the nostalgia of the Cape.
Correct. I'm working on Cape Cod Mystery 3, which may be titled Death at Bound Brook Pier. So this will be set in September 1952, a few months later. And it's going to revive a few characters from the first book that we didn't see much of in book 2.
Well, I would have to say then to anyone who's listening that they need to go to our Cape Cod bookstores or to your online sources and find Rick's books, because they're fun to read, and you can decide, which sequence you want to read them in, or just pick up one and then you can go back and forward. So, Rick, we didn't have the Cape Cod Writer Center conference this year, and I know that we feel badly about that. I want to encourage everyone to go to the Cape Cod Writer Center website to look for writing activities that might be of interest to you. And I want to thank the staff at the Cape Cod Community TV station in Dennisport for their help in getting our new Zoom broadcasts underway. Thank you all, and thank you, Rick.
Thank you.
We'll talk again soon.